Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the tier 6 mercenary tank destroyer, the PlagueBringer. Now the PlagueBringer is a mix of the Jackson turret and gun with the M4A2E4 hull. Now the M4A2E4 hull is not that well armoured, but pretty well angled and got random angles on it. So it's got random little bits that stick out and stuff, which means you do ricochet the odd shell here and there off of the upper plate, which can be pretty nice. But you never rely on it because it is a Sherman hull and therefore it's still pretty paperish. But it's not like some of the other Sherman hulls that are just pure paper. It does have those sorts of, like I say, random ricochet angles and just pretty decent angling all round. It's kind of like the Batch at 25T in a way, if you're thinking about the angles wise, right? In the fact that it's got absolutely zero armour really on paper, but randomly you can just ricochet shots with it, which, you know, is pretty nice, and like I say, it can work. Same as the Jackson turret. It's made of pure paper, but sometimes people will just hit the gun mantlet or the gun and shots will bounce. But for the most part, don't believe the armour, don't rely on the armour, because, yeah, you're kind of like a paper tank destroyer. But you do have this really nice 90mm gun. It's the same 90mm gun that you get on the Hellcat and, like I say, on the Jackson. It plays very much like the Jackson, to be honest. It's near enough the Jackson. That's the way I put it. It's near enough the Jackson. You've got 160 odd pen on the standard AP and like 243, I believe, on the premium, something like that. It's basically enough you're going to... It's enough for what you need. It's enough for everything you're going to face. And as you've seen in the first game, we are bottom tier, so it's going to work out decently enough for us. And yeah, this tank is not actually that bad. I quite like the PlagueBringer. It's just like the Jackson, to be honest. I like the Jackson as well, just as much as I like the Hellcat, and you can have some pretty solid games as a tier 6 tank destroyer. I mean, the way I set it up, I tend to make it a bit more stealthy than it actually is, so, you know, having the camo perks and the camo net and that sort of thing, just to make it so that I can stay unspotted. And like you're seeing here, I am actually unspotted currently, and like fired at the SU 130 PM and didn't get spotted. It's nice just to have that ability to stay unspotted and be that tank destroyer, right? And you get yourselves in a tank destroyer sort of situation where you can be a bit further back and a bit more snipey, and you can do all right. But having 240 alpha is also pretty nice, and as you've seen, you know, for facing sort of tier 7s and tier 8s, it's not too bad to have, as opposed to being sort of a high rate of fire, 150 damage tank destroyer, like there is quite a few of at tier 6 and 5. So in terms of a crew on the PlagueBringer, well, because of the crew system, I do and have been running different crews on it. For the most part, sort of hybrid of this crew you're going to see, and having one or two perks switched out. So in terms of a crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanics, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Camouflage Expertise, and Muffled Shot. I was just trying to think there. Yeah, Trap Mechanic is one that I do switch out every now and then with one of my other crews, and it will either have Rapid Aim, because you are a turreted tank destroyer, so your turret traverse is pretty slow, and I run Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse go quicker, or I run Run and Gun, and therefore have Steady Aim, Run and Gun, and Snapshot to make the gun as good as possible, because you're a tank destroyer, and it's nice to have that gun be just a little bit nicer. And then have the camo perks in Muffled Shot and Camouflage Expertise. But again, if you wanted to, you could switch out Muffled Shot, sorry, and put on Silent Driving just to make your camo better while you're on the move and stuff like that, help you get to those stealthy tank destroyer positions. There's lots of different ways about setting up your crew. You just have to tune it to your likings, essentially. That's the way the crew system is, because you only get limited by 9 perks. You just got to set it up to how you like to use it. And in terms of equipment, I do run Rammer, Camo Net, and Optics. Because it doesn't get vert stabs, you can't make the gun that 20% better with vert stabs, so instead I run the Rammer to make the DPM 10% better, or Advanced Reload, or whatever it's called. Camo Net to make the camo way better, because the Camo Net is fantastic on tank destroyers. It makes the camo go down a lot. And Optics to make sure that I can spot for myself, because you are a tank destroyer, you don't have the best view range in the universe. I mean, you have 370 meters view range, which is not, like I say, it's not wonderful, but it's not bad. You can get that up to a decent amount if you run Optics, but if you don't run Optics, you're going to be pretty blind. So you just want to be able to run that sort of thing, really. But it's up to you. So yeah, on this first game on Pilsen, we've managed 1,800 damage so far with 956 assistance. And I mean, we're on a map that's probably not the best for the PlagueBringer because it's, well, Pilsen being a more brawly map and we are horrifically bottom tier. So we're having to play just a little bit more cautious now because we've lost all of our hit points, so we can't take the chance. So like there, we just had to sit and wait for the KV-85 to either poke for us to get damage at him or get destroyed. So you can see I'm just looking around the corner to see if the Super Sherman was looking at us, but unfortunately the ISU-152 shut him down before we got there. And now we're just moving into a position to get some shots at this Tiger 2. Again, just making... You can see me just poking my camera around the corner just to make sure that he's not looking at me, because I don't want to get shut down at this moment in time, because that would be, well, no bueno. It wouldn't be pretty good, right? So we're just positioning ourselves in a position where hopefully we manage to get a shot into the back end of the Tiger 2, which we do. He poked out just enough, and he's just a little bit, sadly, in a position where we can't quite get shots at him. But then he drives out. We try and get a shot into his drive wheel. Doesn't quite happen, but he's not looking at us. We get the shell in, we slap it into the side of that Tiger 2, and it's like, hopefully I get the shot to finish him. He starts to look at us, but I felt like I was always going to reload before him, but who knows. He's gone. There's 3 tanks left. There's the 2 tank destroyers and the light tank. We know there's a tank destroyer just over this ridge, which I believe is the SU-130PM, or, yeah, the Shashka. So we're loading the HE so we can slap it into his turret front, but, well, he gets destroyed, so we don't need it. And then there's just the Challenger and the Vanguard. The Challenger gets shot down there, and then it's this little pesky Vanguard. It's the little pest. So, realistically, I should probably load APCR. Why should I load APCR? Well, as long as we aim correctly, not badly like that. The velocity. Against things like Vanguards, sure, you don't need premium rounds for the penetration. But velocity is a big factor in hitting these things, and it makes it a lot nicer and easier to hit. So realistically, I shouldn't cheap out. I should load premium to get the better velocity, make it easier just to be able to hit these pests on the, well, just yellow around on the movement stuff. So we're getting ourselves closer to make it easier. We get here, slap the shot into his side, track him in place, and he gets shut down. And we finish the game with 2.5k damage, 1,200 assistance, the victory, 1 kill, ace tanker on it, and 1,819 base XP. A really nice game for the PlagueBringer. I mean, 2.5k is a bit, yeah, it's alright. But I mean, for saying that we were on a pretty brawly map against a lot of tier 8s, it's a pretty nice game for the PlagueBringer. And yeah, like I say, I like having this sort of punchy gun to be able to effectively deal damage to tanks. And it feels like I can just poke up, shoot someone, pull back, right? And I'm not stuck with, say, an E25 type gun. And I'm not saying the E25 because, well, the E25 is obviously absolutely ridiculous because you can just farm someone and take their whole hit points before they even ever see you. But the E25 has broken camo. It's more like having the Stug gun on the Jagdpanzer IV, for example. I'd rather have this gun or the 90mm that's on the Jagdpanzer IV than having the other option, which is the gun you get on the Stug, which is also a good gun. But you have to keep firing and firing and firing and firing, and that also gives away your position more often, which is obviously not what you want. Having a 90mm, having 240 alpha, just like having some of the Soviet guns at tier 6 that have the 122, like the SU-100, and having the 390 alpha, having that higher alpha is nicer, just to be able to sort of slap people. And I mean, 240 alpha for 6-second reload is really good, and you can work people over with the DPM pretty effectively. And as you see, really the mobility isn't that bad either, and it can get you to positions you want to be in. So now we poke up here on this position at J2, and unfortunately the timing was so bad. Just as we got here and poked over, there was a buggy, and the buggy slapped us, and we lost a lot of hit points. To be honest, it could have been a lot worse, because I think, has he got the 100mm? I don't think he actually has the 100mm. He actually has the 90mm. That could have been far worse if he had the 100mm, because, well, he wouldn't have hit us for 240, he would have hit us for 300, and he would have probably reloaded quicker as well. And if he was firing HE, well, if he hits us in the right spot in this Jackson turret, like I say, you can bounce shots here and there off of the gun mantlet, but if he hits the right spot on the turret, he's going to pen us with HE, and that would have been painful. So right here, we managed to shut down both M7s. No, goodbye M7. I should shut down the M7. We're just poking to see if we can get a shot into the top of the buggy. And we shut down the buggy. That's 3 kills in 3 shots. Take it. 1,200 damage so far. Looking for the shot into the back end of the VK 3001P. Fortunately enough, the T43 misses us. We're just going to try and shut down the VK and we get rid of another gun out of the game. Now, this T43 is just coming after us. It's like, no, sir, please leave me alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically face hug him and push him forward. He can't quite kill me in another shot. He would have to high roll magnificently, and fortunately enough, before he managed to get another shot into us, he gets shot down. So now we're looking for shots at this Nashorn. This Nashorn could kill me in one shot, so we just got to be careful. But now we're unspotted, which is where our camera rating is nice. And I mean, especially at this tier, buffing your camera rating up really high is pretty good because the view ranges at this tier aren't the best for the most part, especially if you are top tier. I mean, we're out facing tier 7s here, but for the most part, tier 6s will probably struggle with your camera rating. Now, fortunately, when we poked over at the VZ44-1, we managed to get a nice shot into his driver, which is what we instinctively went for. We penned it as well, but this time we don't actually pen it, but we're keeping him pinned. It's like, please, people, pen him so I can get assistance. I want juicy assistance. And thankfully we get one shot into his lower plate and he gets shut down, so we get a little bit of assistance off of that. So we're going to now, well, at the minute we're 11-5 up. It's going pretty well. We're at 3k damage, 456 assistance. Their heavy tank is going through the middle. They've got 2 tanks spotted up at C90. So what we're going to go for is, well, I was thinking, to be honest, you know what, I'm going to go this way and get the artillery. But look what's happened. We've now got 4 tanks spotted. All 4 of their tanks that have tracks and will move, unlike the artillery, are all spotted in this general vicinity. We've got the tank destroyer in the middle, the heavy tank at F7, and then the 2 tanks that are going to be coming straight down the 0 line. So what I want to try and do is get up here, get up north, and get to probably F5, get up behind this tank destroyer, get some shots into him, get up behind the Tiger P, get some shots into the back end of him, and try and cut off those that are going down the 0 line, and probably going straight towards our cap. And that way, we can try and cut that out. Because at the minute, we've got 2 guys that are going for the cap. They will probably cap out, because unless the enemy go back to try and defend it, yeah, we're probably going to win at this rate. Because we've got, what, 35 seconds till that happens. We shut down the 88, which I think is maybe our 6th kill, if you've been keeping track. Something like that. We're up to 3.2k damage, and what I'm trying to do is where this Tiger P is actually being blocked by this building. So I load HE to destroy the building, and no, there's actually a rock behind the building, so I can't see it. The handy tip there is if you... Well, that was good RNG, wasn't it, hitting that T23E3? Yeah, the handy tip there is if you see destructible cover and you load HE, that is the best way for clearing destructible cover. Because the HE round has a bigger blast radius, is more likely to destroy a whole house, as opposed to the AP round, which will destroy half of it, or a quarter of it, you know. So you're best to load HE and aim for, like, right in the middle of a building. So right here, we catch out this Sturmpanzer. He's in an awkward place, but he's now staring at us. It's like, no, sir, I don't really want this. But you know what? We'll chance it. We get a nice shot onto his upper plate. And we're actually unspotted now, so it's like, where was he? He was somewhere like there. It didn't quite go in. But we managed to spot him as he's trying to pull back behind the building. And he doesn't see us. Again, a bonus of having nice camo rating. So, once again, we shoot one end of the building, load HE, fire it straight into the centre of it. Unfortunately, it didn't destroy the whole thing. But we've got rid of the cover of the Sturmpanzer. He's out in the open, and we shot that guy down. Now, they've only got 2 tanks left, which is artillery, and the heavy tank, which is the Tiger P. Now, unfortunately, being a Tiger P, he has 240 alpha. So, he can kill us in one shot. So, we do have to be careful. And last time we saw him, he was very, very healthy. And he hops into our cap. Now, currently, we're winning. And I have no idea why the Tiger P even bothered getting in the cap. Because our guy's not going to leave the cap. And that Tiger P cannot win in this situation. Unless the artillery obviously gets in the cap. No one knows where the artillery is. No one's spotted the artillery currently. And he's probably hiding up north somewhere. But yeah, the Tiger P's making the wrong play at the minute. He's currently sitting in the cap, and that's not the way for it. So you can see, because I've not got the hit points, I'm just being a little bit more careful. I'm trying to see where the 88 is, seeing if he's going to catch up. And right here, we're in actually a pretty nice position. Unfortunately, we ricochet off the cupola of that Tiger P. we're in a pretty nice position because we can just about see the cupola of that Tiger P, and I think he probably can only just see the tippy top of my turret. But because he misses, I know I have the opportunity to fire at him because my reload is just a little bit better. And we're just aiming for this cupola, but we keep ricocheting. We finally get a shell into it because we're actually firing premium. And yeah, randomly we kept ricocheting with our standard 160 pen round off of his cupola. That shouldn't have happened, but like I say, unfortunately, because of those couple of shots that ricocheted, we couldn't quite get the kill on him, but we finished with a nice total of damage. Finished with the victory, 7 kills, 4.4k damage, 2.5k base XP, which is really nice, with 456 assistance. That's a really big game for the tank, the Ace Tanker, Devastator, Top Gun, High Caliber, yeah, and 2.5k base XP. So shame those couple of shots bounced off that Tiger P, because we could have had a Radley Walters medal there. But it is what it is. Still a really nice game for the PlagueBringer, which is a fairly solid mercenary tank destroyer. And if and when the contract comes up to get, it's a pretty solid tank to get. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.